How you doing? The video we're looking at today is by Max Bushcraft, and the video is called Building a Shelter to Survive in Forest, Bushcraft Camping Without Tent and Sleeping Bag. Okay, let's get into it and check this thing out. Rainy old day, quite a bit of B-roll. Don't know if it's really establishing the location that much. Like, it's that part is he's walking down a track, that part is he's getting deeper into the forest, but he's obviously quite away from that river. When you're out filming and you shoot all these shots, the temptation is just to leave them all in there. You want to use them all because you've put the effort into filming them all, so you don't want to cut them all out, but you got to cull the video. You got to chop out those pieces that don't really add anything to the video. Getting this tiny little spade out. That is a tiny little spade. Man. At least it's got a decent handle on it, but it's like one of the smallest spades I've seen. At least he's showing the roots. So many of these videos, they don't show the roots and the struggles of getting through all these roots. When you've got all those trees around, the trees have got roots. So obviously if you're digging a hole, the roots are going to be there. Now he's already got a depression in the ground, which is a bit dicey, because rainwater will naturally find the lowest point. And if you're building your shelter in that lowest point, there is that possibility that rainwater is just going to all go into that one location. Pretty sandy, man. It's like a bit of soil on the top and then it's just sand. Wow. Good to see someone else struggling with a with a tiny saw. First of all, I love the forests. I always say that, how much I like these forests, but I like that he's showing the transportation of it back to the site instead of just having all these logs just magically appear there. Might be his doorway. Just kind of killed the momentum. Like, this whole bit of B-roll showing the rain, like, yeah, we've established that it's raining, but it just kind of killed the flow of it a bit. Don't know what that little shot there of that mushroom was. Don't know if that just got left in there or if, yeah. Not too sure about all these little bits of B-roll. The spider web and mushroom and ferns and things. You gotta find that balance between not enough and too much. He's already established two things. One, that it's raining, so we don't need to see any more shots of rain on leaves and things, but he's cutting all this wood and we've seen him cutting a couple of pieces. I don't necessarily think we need to see him cutting as much of the wood. Could have shown us cutting like one or two pieces maybe, and then just this bit of carrying it back to the shelter site, and just to keep the momentum going. I don't know. Just, as with all these videos, I'm just giving my reaction of what I think when I'm watching these videos. Everyone has their own things they like and own things they enjoy. If you're watching this on TV, you could be just sitting back, relaxing and watching it, and it might not bother you. But if you're watching it on a mobile device or on a laptop and you've got other things to do, then yeah, maybe you want to see the flow a bit quicker. Well, I was going to say that he didn't want to cut his cordage. That's why he's doing all these wild wrappings around these logs and things, but then he went and cut it. Man, that's like a picture. Like, the photograph of those trees, it's just awesome with the moss on them, and love it. If anyone knows where this guy is based, just drop it in the comments. Let me know if you're a follower of this guy. Yeah, let me know if you know his name, if you know where he's based, anything else about him. Just, yeah, always keen to find that out. With a flat roof, water can't run off it. Like, it's got nowhere to go, it just lands on it. So no matter what you put on top there, unless you put a tarp on it, it's slowly going to seep through it because it can't shed, it can't get away. You really need to have a sloping roof, and the steeper the slope, the more chance you've got of the water shedding off it before it finds its way through and onto you. I do like that he's broken this up a bit. Like, he's getting through the build. We're like a third of the way through the video. Now he's stopping, collecting berries, having a feed. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I sort of just breaks it up, but I would have liked to have seen it, like the build flowing a lot quicker. So it's just full on build, and then have that break, collect the berries, sit down, relax, have a drink, and then boom, back into it and go again. If my voice sounds a bit rough, it's because I've been sick for the last couple of weeks. I'm struggling before I get there. When I'm using cordage, I go through a lot of cordage, but I still try to use the least amount. Like, he had a massive tag on that. Like, the tag end of his cord was like that long. Like, I try to make my tags about that long, and that still allowed me to do a finishing knot as well. So yeah, just if you'd use that much of a tag on every single one of them, that's a couple of meters of cordage he's just wasted. He doesn't do any frapping on his knots. And what I mean by frapping, if you don't know, it's you lash your cordage on, but then you'll do like a lash around to actually pull the cordage together and tighten everything up, and it's called frapping. And yeah, it just makes the whole knot tighter, like the whole lashing tighter. He doesn't do it on any of his knots that I've seen. He hasn't done any of that, which would make everything a little bit loose. Like, he's gone Spider-Man crazy down there binding all that on, whereas he could have just done one little lash at the top, like that wide, and a lash down the bottom, frap them, each one of those, to really lock it in tight, and that would have been it. You wouldn't have had all that cordage all the way down it. I do like that he's using, looks like jute twine that he's using here, that's going to break down naturally in nature. A lot of the cordage that I use isn't that kind of material. Like, the stuff I use, it's going to last a long time, doesn't rot, and it's not affected by the sun and that. But then I'm using my shelters for years. I don't just build a shelter and move on to another one. I've got multiple shelters that I've built years ago, and I'm still using them all. So the rainwater is not going to run off this roof. I mean, you might slow it down. It can't run anywhere if it's flat. It's just got to pull up until it slowly runs off, and then it's just going to sit there and hold, and it's going to run over the edges of all this bark and down into your shelter. And even having the bark like this, it's still, water's still going to pool up on it, and then it's going to run over the edges of it, find a way into your shelter. Looks like his fireplace he's working on here. It's all well and good to have a fire in your shelter. Like, I think everyone wants it. It's good for morale to have a fire in your shelter, and if it's raining, it's good to be able to just sit inside out of the weather and have your fire going. But the smoke issue is always the challenge. And if you can't build a good chimney to really draw that smoke out of the shelter, yeah, you're going to be sitting in a pretty damn smoky shelter. So sometimes I think you are better off having an outdoor fireplace. Man, that's going to go up. He obviously wants a big, impressive fire to start with, because I think this thing is going to rage. Yep, that's a big fire. Ooh. Didn't know how close his hand was to that saw then. It's a bit of a sketchy move, like sawing towards you and it's going to rip off. Any of those saws, they're super sharp. So yeah, he's not afraid of having a big fire. If you're, I'd suggest cutting the can if you're going to do that, not on your knee. Maybe do it on a solid ground. Funny if he turns the can over and it's got a pull tab on the other side. What I'm finding is every sort of part of this video is just a little bit too long. Like the cooking section is just drawn out a little bit too much. Certain things of the build, like cutting the wood, is drawn out a little bit too much, just to the point of me losing interest. And again, it's just a personal thing. Like, other people watch it and they'd really enjoy the pacing of it, but for me, yeah, I find it's just a little bit too long. Like, it's good to show the cooking side of things, but I just feel like it's dragged out a bit too much. It's just, I don't know, there's just something about it, it's just a bit too drawn out. But this whole cooking section, I reckon it could have been a third of what it is, because the title is building a shelter to survive in the forest, bushcraft camping without a tent and sleeping bag. This is the camping part of it, I guess, the cooking the food. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the core of the video is building this shelter, but now it almost feels like half the video has just been him having this fire and cooking this meal and eating this meal. That's it. That's what it feels like. To me, for me, the momentum has just died. Like in this video, it's just completely died. It was a bit slow in spots during the build, and then it's just this whole fire cooking thing is just and I don't know if we needed to, it might have been better if it just had have faded to black rather than him just turning the light out, and then it could have cut straight to the shot of the fire and then fade to black again and then show morning. If he's going to show morning. I don't think he's going to show morning. I don't think we've got enough time to show morning. I think that's the end of the video. The positives. I like the location. Well, when I say I like the location, I love that location. That was absolutely awesome. I like that he broke it up with collecting the berries, having that break. But it just, the whole video, it kind of felt drawn out to me. Like I've cut it right down for you guys. It's like a 34 minute video. I haven't shown you all of what I watch. I'll put a link to it in the video description if you want to go check it out. Check it out and check out his other videos, because he's done a lot of videos, but I haven't watched them. It had the potential to be a much better video. I just felt like the momentum was killed a lot in it. He'd be halfway through cutting something and then it'd cut to a shot of a mushroom and then cut back to him sawing again, instead of showing him sawing and then cutting to a different angle of him making that cut. I did like that he had the fire outside. I think if he tried to do an inside fire, it would have been smoky as hell, and it just, it wouldn't have been worth it. He could have done the roof on an angle, and so water would have shed off it more, and he could have had that extending up, had his wall set back, and had his fireplace out here, so he could have sat underneath the eaves of that slanted roof outside, so even if it was raining, he'd be sheltered a bit while he's got his fire going. I don't have a problem with the cooking section. I think that's good, like showing that, build the shelter and then get a fire going, cook up your feed, but it went on so long. For me, it felt like half the video was just the fire and him cooking. Yeah, I think that should have been cut way down and just fire established, prepping the food, cooking it, sit back eating it, done. Like a couple of minutes maximum. And some of those night shots, you couldn't really see anything, and you get the feel for what was going on, that it was nighttime and that's good. But because you can't see much, I wouldn't show it as much. The video was, like 34 minutes or something. I think he could have chopped that down to 15. But that's the problem. You put all the effort into making the video and making a shelter and all that, and you might have filmed hours of footage. You feel like you want to keep it half an hour or something like that, and you say, oh, half an hour, it's acceptable. And it can be, if it's justified. But I think that wasn't what he showed, wasn't justified 34 minutes. I think he could have told that story a lot quicker. I think there was a lot of cutting of the timber that didn't need to be shown. He'd established he was cutting timber, and we didn't need to see as much of that. And definitely the whole fire and doing the food section, I think that could have been cut right down. And that it just makes it more enjoyable to watch, and you're less likely to skip through it and less likely to skip off it if you get bored with it. And if you're not bored and you enjoy it, you're more likely to watch more videos. But if it's a bit of a drag to get through it, you mightn't be as keen to watch another one. When I'm doing these reactions and commentary on these videos, it's something I also take forward in my own videos to try to be better at telling the story. Because, I mean, if you're putting all the effort into making the shelter and all the effort into filming it and all the effort into editing it, then surely you want to make it as good as you possibly can and improve on things. And yeah, I don't know. It's like I've said many times, this is just my opinions. Everyone likes different things. This is my 2 cents worth. If you don't like it, then you don't have to watch it, I guess. Till next time, thanks for watching. Catch ya.